What's going on, everyone? Interesting thread here by Jez, and this has been kind of going around in general 'cause it's definitely a topic right now. And I had a feeling that one day this would be a serious question before we really get our answers, and that how there's going to be people on one side that really would like this because they just can't handle uh, the thoughts that Microsoft has of trying to produce something like this, or just the idea of this happening in general. And then you're going to have people that just want to embrace something like this. And that's if the next gen Xbox supports Steam, Epic Game Store, or PlayStation block their PC titles on Microsoft's hardware. I want to vote no as a sense of let's just hope that doesn't happen. And obviously, I have ideas about would that be a yes? And would Sony want to do something like that? Yeah, of course. It would be naive to say that, no, it's 100% no. There's no way they wouldn't do that. You know what I mean? Because it's like, knowing Sony, yeah, they would try something like that. But let's understand the situations first, right? So let me start off real quick before we get to some of these comments because they have some good points too. One, let me just say one thing: the Helldivers 2 situation. Sony tried their way with the PC community, but they bended the knee. If you watch Game of Thrones, you know about that. You know, Skyrim had the arrow in the knee. Game of Thrones has bend the knee. You know, but they tried to log in right after they had launched Helldivers 2 on PC without that, and what disaster turned out. Then you saw the PlayStation Network supposedly hit again recently, not too long ago, with offline for almost 24 hours. And then, I told people now you see why people don't want to deal with that because the securities and vulnerabilities. And then there's just a big portion of the PC community that just doesn't like Sony in general, and they don't like their anti-consumer behavior. So since you can't force people to log in on Steam, why would you block access to that market? See, that's the problem right there, is that you don't have it to where people have to log into PSN. That it's out of that. You said they could do that already, and if they do want to log in, they can get some vanity benefits. So at that point, they realize how much they need PC, right? And that if people are buying PlayStation games on Xbox through the Steam store, it'll still be like Steam selling PlayStation games. Like, could Sony possibly find a way to try to get it blocked through the Microsoft system? Depending on if it's going to be an Xbox operating system or is there going to be a new unified system to where it's the same on PC? And if it is, then how are you blocking the PC experience? Right? And do they want to take those benefits to add in that market? Uh, you know, just say, oh yeah, we'll just take the sales. And you're not officially porting it to the Xbox console. That's what I kind of wanted to talk about, like in that sense, because it's like, yeah, we can't force people to log in, and will we pull all our games off of Steam after engaging in that contract and just making some PSN sign in on the PC forefront, where this is how you play PlayStation games in the future, so we can prevent that or something like that? I don't know, man, because that's gonna kind of be hard because it's already hard on stuff like Ubisoft Plus, EA, and their service and other people that kind of wanted their browsers to go up. Like they would have to make some subscription service, right? But you don't see Sony doing that with their IP. So yeah, they would have to think up something different, you know. But as of right now, if Microsoft gets Steam on the consoles, I just don't see a way of them finding a way around it in a sense that's not going to be detrimental to themselves. It's almost like they're kind of cornered in a way, and we're gonna have to find a way to get past that. That's what I wanted to add in. And of course, there's more to add in, but let's take a look at some comments now too. Some other perspectives over here. He says they can't. Sony allows Lenovo, Valve, and Asus handhelds to play Sony's games. What's the difference between a Microsoft handheld and an Asus handheld? The upcoming Project Keening handheld from Asus will play Sony games. What's different from an Xbox branded Asus handheld and the Microsoft Xbox handheld? There is a difference because we're talking about operating systems and just blocking the operating system. because it doesn't say that it can be on a Microsoft operating system in a sense of a console. But the Microsoft Windows PC store forefront, yeah, there's nothing you can do about that. But as far as the Xbox, which is actually a hybrid console, yeah, they could find a way around that. So that comment's a bit flawed. Good luck to Sony, differentiating Windows and Xbox software on the hardware. And that's why I say, well, we got to get some answers. They could ask electronics certification authorities in various countries, e.g., the FCC in the US, to not approve the product for sale because Microsoft is interfering with the market competition by creating a device that is neither a gaming console nor a PC. I don't know. Mm, no. No, because that's not possible. The Xbox will become a PC console, so they'd have to ban it for PC. Okay, now that's an interesting comment. Why do I think this? Because it's what I said before. Is this next gen Xbox going to be a PC or is it going to be a console with PC integrations? Are there's going to be different options? This is what we need answers on, right? It's like I said before with the handheld situation. Is that an Asus themed Xbox handheld we're talking about with a PC experience? Or is it the Xbox official handheld, which we know that's he said that would be like at least 2 years out. So and we got our answers about that, obviously. So it's the same thing when we get to this console. Is this going to be like the Asus theme, or is it going to be an official Xbox uh, having a PC hybrid experience and them unifying both to have the same aspect? So whatever's on PC is the same on consoles now. It's all unified. Pretty sure has mentioned this before. So until we get those fully answered, yeah, some of these suggestions are plausible, and then some of them are like, nah, I don't think so. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, we can still make a very good guesstimate here about some of these things. He says, I'm sure Team Blue will place a gross amount of effort in trying to. It's because people just don't trust Sony, so I can understand why they feel that way about that situation. No, they will enjoy the sales. Once again, that's not something you can 100% certify because they can enjoy extra sales by just porting to Xbox too, but they don't do that. And it's the same thing. It's not hard to do the port. It's cheap and easy. They've already explained that. Same thing with remaster. So why are you ignoring just even the extra amount of sales on Xbox or even like possibly Game Pass exposure? Well, they're not. So that's like this ugly grudge they have against each other. So that's just how it is. Definitely, they will try to find a way. That I can see that being very plausible. Yes, but it won't go well with the 1 billion monthly active users. Guys, can we just stop with this because that is just not reality. The reality is how many Steam people are playing every single day with Epic, Ubisoft Plus, and with EA Play and Microsoft Store. Now, if you can grab all those numbers, yes, people on PC that are actually using that, then that would be more plausible. Other than that, like I just feel like that's a hollow statement. Doesn't have any concrete reality, right? And you know how I am. I'm fair across all, but I'm very critical towards PlayStation at the moment, and I've explained why, and that makes the most sense. Just like when Microsoft was messing up in the Xbox One era, people were very critical on them for a long time until they see better. You got to do the same thing to Sony. It's not a crime. You're not negative. You're not a grifter because of that. No, it's because you care and you realize they can do better. And there's nothing wrong with doing that. So never let somebody guilt trap you over that type of nonsense. It's absolutely stupid. So Donald Dunk says, yes, PlayStation hardware on borrowed time. They're doing all they can to prevent the transition to open platforms. They're petty and on a streak of self-destruction based on that, yes, but it won't last long. That's what I'm saying. Like, and I just feel like it's hard to beat Microsoft in court too, right? Well, they're already shown they beat Sony, and they have more money and they have more American power. So I think this is more of an issue, definitely in American society, that it will be elsewhere. And it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out, right? There's always something interesting going on between these two, and that's what I said. That's what makes it interesting. You want interesting stuff like this to make the show more interesting. No, because Xbox is third party. It's no longer a competitor to Sony. Why would Sony, if PC gamers buy PlayStation games, they would be thrilled because Xbox consoles are dead. It will be a PC. That's an interesting concept, but then at the end of the day, there's still some room for them to at least get a good amount of hardware sales and have people somehow want to carry over to a more PC-like experience again away from PlayStation. So I don't know, man. Definitely when Nintendo closing in, coming around the corner too, PC gaming continuing to grow, and Microsoft making a big positive jump, I think that they'll feel like they're being triple trapped in a certain sense. So I don't know. I just I see Sony trying something ugly at least. They got to try something. You know what I mean? They're not going to sit there and watch. And that's what I think about it. I don't think Microsoft will attempt to let you play Sony games on Xbox devices. Microsoft will preemptively block them to avoid any legal repercussions unless Sony says it's okay. No, they're not going to do that. No, Microsoft won't want to do that. That's a stupid comment. I'm sorry, but I just don't see that happening. So yeah, this is like what I wanted to kind of say about this type of topic. It gets very interesting, right? Knowing that Microsoft can get all these, and I tell people before, even if they didn't get the PS5 games, having the stuff that you don't have on Steam, like for example, stuff like think about this, stuff like Black Myth Wukong, right? Stuff like Phantom Blade Zero, stuff like Lost Souls Aside, like these are games that are strictly PC games, right? And if Microsoft gets their hands on these, because Sony's just trying to lock them to PlayStation 5 to get a deal on there, but they're organically still PC games anyways. Those are not their games. Games like Stellar Blade, you know what I mean? Like Microsoft would be able to get those games. Now, as far as like Sony in-house first party publishing and development and actually own those studios, um, there may be something interesting going on with that. But those other games, remember guys, Sony doesn't own those IPs. You know what I mean? There's just deals that they have because they're on PC and like gotcha games day one, you would just be able to get those games that Microsoft didn't get the deals from. You see what I mean? There's so much more to look at this in a positive manner. It even if the PlayStation 5 games were voided a little bit, or there was something that went on with it, you still have a whole access of stuff on GOG, Epic, and Steam that are just still ginormous, way bigger than PlayStation's first party board, because Sony don't release a ton of games. So there's so many ways to still look at this positive, even if this situation kind of did turn out cranky. You know what I mean? You could say, well, you know what? We still have all these games. So Sony doesn't really have any advantages except just their games that they kind of want to be stingy with. But as far as trying to lock away games that are not theirs, you can't do that anymore because they're all accessible on Steam, on GOG, or on the Epic Game Store. So that kind of just shuts that down, right? Just in general, that's just why they still want to go for that deal, right? Even though people want to make it seem like 100%, it's just about the PlayStation. No, it's bigger than that if you think about it. It really is. So yeah, that's something to think about. Let me know what y'all think about that. Like, comment, subscribe. Glad to give you guys another innovative aspect on this situation. So, yeah, it gets pretty interesting. And I'm still looking forward to this in a positive manner because I still think no matter what, this is the best route and the highest benefit that they can get. And it's not bad, it's good, and it's a great idea. So, ponies, sit down. All right, y'all, have a great day. I still look forward to this because I think that this is a very real reality here, and those pictures were not photoshopped or any of that. They got taken down for a reason because there's some concrete reality to that. Later, y'all.